Hey, hello everyone. I'm Michael Poggi here, and I just want to take a few minutes to share my personal story with you about how I became super successful using my self-directed real estate Roth IRA to be able to create massive passive income from quarter acre buildable vacant lots. Now, most of you probably never heard of that strategy, but I must tell you, it's one of the safest strategies that I've ever invested in for me, and I was able to do very well with it by letting the land appreciate and then selling it on terms and making passive income all tax free. So I want to go back to the beginning when I first started. As a young guy, 20 some years ago, I only had $500 to start investing in real estate. So I was scratching my head trying to figure out how the heck am I going to be able to become a multimillionaire in real estate with no money to buy houses or to build an apartment building or anything of that sort. So I only had $500. So I had to figure out a way to use $500 and leverage that $500 to be able to become super wealthy. So here's what I did. I started to call sellers of vacant lots that were in cheap neighborhoods, like below 10 grand. So I was buying lots for $5,000 20 years ago. And I was buying those lots in communities that were resort communities that had lakes and golf courses and amenities. And the subdivision was about 5% built out. In other words, there was about 5% of the homes were already completed in there. So I started to call sellers and ask them if I could please buy their lot for $5,000, but I wanted to put a down payment down of $500 and pay them the difference, the $4,500, over the course of 5 years. Now imagine when a seller hears that, the first thing they're going to say is, nope, I got to have all my money right now up front. They all say that, and that's okay. But the truth is that not all of them need the money right now. Some of the sellers of land don't need the money right now because they're already successful and wealthy and they don't need to sell it right this minute. They can take payments. So after calling about 10 or 12 sellers, I found one seller that said, yes, I will go ahead and sell you my lot on terms. So that means that I was able to buy a lot for $5,000 with only $500 down payment. That means that I owed the seller $4,500 for 5 years, and I paid, I think, $200 a month. And that was giving me the ability to let the seller be my bank. So the seller was my bank. And I did this in my self-directed Roth IRA with an administrator that allows for real estate investments. So that's called a self-directed IRA. Now, by doing this, I was able to control $5,000 with only $500 of my own money. Well, 5 years later, that particular vacant lot doubled to $10,000. So I was controlling $10,000 with only $500 down payment, and I made my payments every month on time. So when I went to sell the lot for $10,000 5 years later, I had realized that I had averaged 20% per year. Obviously, if you double your money in 5 years, that's 20% a year. So I was pretty happy because that investment beat the stock market that I was in, beat all my mutual fund investments, and of course beat annuities and then beat bonds. And the risk was lower for me because owning a piece of land was less risk than me being in stocks and mutual funds. So the lot was $10,000. So I went ahead and put it for sale for $10,000. And I used some really neat sales techniques where I would say, quarter acre buildable lot for sale, 0 down payment, 100% financing, no credit check, everyone approved. And I got 80 phone calls in 3 weeks because everybody in the whole United States that saw that ad that wanted to own a piece of land but did not have a down payment and didn't have good credit could still buy my lot. And I realized that I had no risk. What happens if I sold my lot for $10,000 and someone was making payments to me at $400 a month into my Roth IRA tax-free, and let's say they defaulted? What is my risk? I didn't have any risk because I still owned the land. I don't give up the deed until they make their last payment. It's no different than an automobile loan. When you buy a car and you put down $5 grand down on a car and you owe the bank for the loan, you don't get the title to the car until you made your last payment. It's the same thing with a piece of land. So in other words, when I finished making my last payment on my lot, that's when I got the deed. And when my buyer at $10,000 finished making their last payment, I transferred the deed. So therefore, I had no risk to do that. So not only did I double my money, I made 100% return, but I also made 10% interest for 5 years, 10% interest every year for 5 years. So I got paid twice. I got paid for the appreciation, meaning the profit, and I got paid 10% per year on my investment. So you can't beat that. That was a phenomenal way to go. So I was pretty excited about that. And I went ahead and learned that if I can do that multiple times, if I could have 10 lots paying me $400 a month, or 20 lots, or 50 lots, or 100 lots, then I can really get ahead faster. So I went ahead and did that. I was able to get a loan into my IRA from my brother for $20,000, and I used that to put down payments down on many vacant lots. I put $500 down on 40 vacant lots, all in my Roth IRA tax-free. So now my lots have gone up even more and doubled and tripled over the years. And I am a firm believer in real estate, and I'm a firm believer in making money in buildable vacant lots that are in pre-platted resort communities. That's the way to go. So if you'd like to learn more about this, I'd love to share my secrets with you. Let me know how we can help. Thank you very much.